Here's a message from somebody in Iran. They're reaching out to people who have platforms and who can speak for them. So I'm going to read y'all this letter. If you got time, just take some time to listen. So, we are not our government. We are not the ones asking for war, but we are the ones who will pay for it. When bombs drop, they do not ask who we voted for. They don't ask if we support the regime. They hit homes, they hit dreams, they hit real people. To the American people, you have a voice, you have a power. Speak louder than your politicians. We are not asking you to fight for us. We only ask that you see us as humans. We are living under sanctions, I can't make out this word, but we are living under silence. Some of us haven't tasted freedom in decades, but we are still human. We love, we build, we pray, we bleed, just like you do. Please do not let your media make us out to be monsters. Not let your government tell you who we are. Find out for yourselves. We are not a part of this war. We are victims of it. From Iran to America, please let love rise louder than fear. And let the truth speak louder than your news.
Iranians have never had issues with Black Americans, and a lot of them have been very vocal about it. They have said it severally that they do not have any issues with Black Americans, and they do not include Black Americans in the people who are causing or enforcing this whole thing going on right now. Okay, and Black Americans are also saying that they truly do not have issues with Iranians and that they consider them to be friendly people. And a lot of people have said things and have historically mentioned things that have happened in the past between the Iranians and the Black Americans. And right now in this video, we are going to let other people talk about this and we listen to what other people have to say about this whole thing going on between the message towards the Black Americans and the reactions of the Black Americans towards the message sent by the Iranians to them. Okay, please, if you're new here, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and drop your comments in the comment section because I always like to know what you all think in the comments. Alright, remain to the original creators of these videos. I'm going to let the rest of the clips play out and then we come back and discuss about this some more. Let's watch.
When that man threatened Iran last week, he said to the protesters, don't worry, help is on the way. And he said to the Iranian leaders, y'all need to back up. And then the Iranian leaders or a spokesperson or someone in government said, we're not going to miss next time. And the U.S. at the White House level sort of quieted down. And you know what? Listen, I just remember, I'm old enough to remember during the Iranian hostage crisis, as we called it here in this country, when the U.S. Embassy fell to the revolution there and American hostages were taken. And what most Americans remember is that the hostages were held for 300 something days, maybe 313 days or something. Americans started having a yellow ribbon to symbolize the hostages and all this kind of stuff. And the hostages were released. First there was an attempt to get them out and that failed. And eventually they were released and it was negotiated and worked out under Jimmy Carter. But Reagan had won the election and had worked out to hold those hostages there until he got in. So in pop culture, many people think Reagan got the hostages released with. But that's not what this video is about. You know what this video is about? When they had those hostages, the Iranians said, we're going to let the black people go. The Iranians let the black people go because they said, listen, we know y'all working here for this government, but we know you are not in control of that government over there in the United States. Y'all can go. And that's sort of some forgotten history about the what we call the Iranian hostage crisis. And so now that there's another little battle going on between this government and the Iranians and the revolution there and the battles we're having here, all I'm saying is, if y'all decide to do something, just remember, just like y'all let us go last time, leave us out of this mess.
The Iranians have always been on the side of Black Americans. Let's talk about it. I don't like bringing up race and the division that it causes, but this is a different point here. The point is that we have a habit of erasing history that is inconvenient in this country. For example, in Texas, now you see they're trying to erase slavery from textbooks. They're trying to tell kids that the slaves migrated to America and that they were happy on the plantations where they were getting free food and free shelter. But these evil people from the north came and took that away and made them go work for themselves. And when you confront these people about this complete ridiculous story they're trying to tell, they say, well, they don't want to traumatize the children. They don't want the children to hear about all this negative slavery thing and carry that burden into the future. But why not? Why not tell them the truth? Because those who do not know the truth, that do not know history, are doomed to repeat it. So in the time that I've been talking, I hope you've read what's highlighted above. Because they're going to tell you in the coming days, and people will start repeating how these people hate all Americans. And that they kidnapped these Americans in 1979 and held them for almost a year, and they wouldn't let them go, and it was terrible. That is not true. Read above. They let the black people go. Yeah, read it right there. He basically almost immediately let the black people go. Maybe it was political, maybe it was a sign to basically shake up America, but you will see there the revolutionary Iran's proclamation that they've always supported marginalized and disenfranchised people, African Americans, holding black solidarity marches, commemorating Martin Luther King on a national postage stamp. Yes, they have always supported black Americans. And if you don't believe it, let me show you some evidence. This is a George Floyd vigil that was in Tehran. Right. They supported Black Lives Matter. You think this is just a government propaganda thing? Let me show you some more. Here you have protesters for Black Lives Matter in Iran, in Tehran. Read the sign, stop murdering black people. Right. So I'm not trying to drive a racial wedge. I'm pointing out that people tell a history that's convenient for them. And no, it's not convenient to know that these Iranians don't hate us. However, if you were to Google what happens to black people in Israel with, forced sterilization and how they're treated, I've been there, it's not quite the same. Now, I've never been to Iran, and you can tell me if you've been to Iran that I'm completely wrong and they treat black people awfully. But that's not been my experience, not with my Persian friends. But, again, let me know what you know in the comments.
The military just issued a public message for Iranian civilians. Just think about it. Central Command says Iran is launching drones and ballistic missiles from crowded civilian areas. And because of that, those locations could become legitimate military targets. Translation? The US is warning that areas inside Iranian cities could be struck. They even named cities like Isfahan. The message also says the US cannot guarantee civilian safety near those sites. This is the kind of statement militaries release before expending strikes. In other words, the situation just escalated again. And if missiles keep launching from inside the cities, the people who will suffer most are not the generals. It will be the civilians. This is only escalating.
Did you know that during the 1979 Iran hostage crisis, they released 13 Black American and female hostages about 2 weeks after the U.S. embassy was seized? They basically released them because they realized and recognized that Black Americans and women in general were also victims of American imperialism. And so they released them because they were like, hey, they're less likely to be spies, so we'll let them go. They held onto the remaining 52 hostages until about January of 1981. And then those same 13 Black American and women hostages were later excluded from the financial compensation provided to the other 52 hostages by the American government.
This message is for all the Iranians coming from black folks. We didn't vote for this. We didn't vote for this mess in 2016. We didn't vote for this mess in 2020. We sure in the hell didn't vote for it in 2024. Only thing I ask, if you all do anything over here in the States, anything, please give the opportunity of black folks to get out of there before you start doing whatever you want to do. That's all I asked. Oh, and by the way, many Palestinian Americans who could vote over here, they also advise people not to vote for VP Harris. They advise them to vote for that person in the White House. So I'm just throwing that out there. I know we've had our differences in regards to when we come into your store and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we did not vote for this. So just make sure that if you see us, give us opportunity to clear out. That's all I'm asking.
I just wanted to hop on with a quick message for Iran. The city of Chicago is about 30% black, or people who identify as African American. We also showed up and did not vote for this. Chicago, I know it's a major city and maybe you'd want to make a point, but we this ain't really our thing. We're not really down for this. So, you could direct that down or over, but not Chicago. Okay? From a 92%er.
So, still on the topic of Iranians never having any issues with the Black Americans, a growing number of conversations online are highlighting the idea that many Iranians have historically expressed that they do not see Black Americans as their enemies, and that their disagreements or tensions have usually been directed towards government, political decisions, or international power struggles rather than towards ordinary people, which is why some Iranian voices are now making it clear during this period of global tension that they recognize the difference between political leadership and everyday citizens, particularly Black Americans who themselves have long histories of struggle against injustice, inequality, and discrimination within the United States. Many people pointing this out say that throughout history, that they sometimes have conflicts that they did not start, did not design, and did not benefit from. Yet, they are sometimes expected to carry the responsibility of representing the entire United States on the world stage, even though the Black community has repeatedly spoken out against wars, military interventions, and political decisions that are disproportionately harm ordinary people both inside and outside of the country. Because of this, some Iranians have publicly stated that they understand that many Black Americans did not support or ask for the tension and conflicts that lead to war, and that they recognize the long tradition of anti-war activism, civil rights organizing, and social justice movements within the Black community, which historically have often criticized government policies that harm vulnerable communities around the world. In many of these messages being shared, Iranians' voices are emphasizing that ordinary people should not automatically be viewed as enemies simply because their governments are involved in geopolitical disputes, explaining that they see Black Americans as a community that has also faced historical oppression, systematic inequality, and long struggle for dignity and recognition, which creates a sense of understanding that goes beyond national borders. Some people discussing this situation say that they realize Iranians are openly stating that Black Americans are not their enemies is because they recognize that the Black community has often been among the loudest voices in questioning war challenges of unjust policies and advocating for peace, fairness, and accountability, even when those positions were unpopular or ignored by powerful institutions. Others say that this moment is also reminding people of a broader reality that many communities around the world understand that political conflicts are usually driven by government strategic interests and international power dynamics, while ordinary citizens, whether they are in Iran and United States, Africa, or anywhere else, are often the ones who end up paying the highest price through economical hardship, instability, and loss. Within these conversations, some Black Americans reacting to the messages are acknowledging that they appreciate being recognized as separate from the political decision of the US government and explaining that for generations, Black Americans have been vocal about opposing wars that harm innocent people, and that many in the community believe global conflict often distracts from the real issues of justice, equality, and human rights that people everywhere should continue to struggle for. At the same time, the discussion has sparked deeper reflection about solidarity between ordinary people across the different nations, with many saying that when communities recognize each other's struggle and refuse to treat each other as enemies simply because of political narratives, it creates the possibility for a different kind of global conversation based on mutual understanding rather than hostility. Ultimately, the message being shared by some Iranians emphasizing that Black Americans are not their enemies reflects a broader attempt to separate people from politics, reminding the world that while governments may clash and military conflicts may dominate headlines, ordinary individuals and communities can still recognize shared experiences of struggle, resilience, and the desire for peace rather than division. So, guys, right now, a lot of Iranians are saying that Black Americans are not the issue, Black Americans are not the problem, and that they understand the struggles that Black Americans have had to face over the years, over centuries. And right now, they are saying that they do not include Black Americans in part of the issues going on. Well, guys, please let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think that them identifying with the Black Americans with their struggles, it's okay, or you think that this is a strategy for something else coming? All right. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and drop your comments in the comment section. All right, remain the original creators of these videos. Thanks so much for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next.